Hi lovelies, and welcome back to another TikTok video. If you're new here, my name is Balloon and here is Ballistic Gist. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload videos you'll be the first person to be notified. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for all the love and support. To those people that share my videos, thank you so much for all the love and support. Alright lovelies, let's get into the video. So guys, I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok and I find it super informative, hilarious at the same time, and educating, guys, where these Black American guys were actually giving a narration of how conservative, Asian Americans, have to do with this stuff about, affirmative action and the post-affirmative action affecting all the Asian community as a whole. Guys, there are a lot of controversies on TikTok, on internet, concerning the post-affirmative, where Asian people are not actually getting admitted into the schools after affirmative action has been, put out. Guys, this got people talking. This even actually made a lot of Asian people to come out. It's like, okay, we have accepted this part. Black people actually told us this, and this guy that talked about this, conservative Asian Americans, actually went viral and talking on TikTok, and a lot of Asian people stitched the video, reacting to what he had to say, because he was actually passing a message across. It was being hilarious, but he was passing a message across. Guys, I'm just gonna roll the clip as well as the stitches I was able to put together from Asian Americans and as well as some Black Americans, trying to tell them that, okay, we all told you this. Guys, I'm just gonna roll the clip. Please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video and what you think of the post-affirmative action affecting more of these Asian people again. Guys, I'm just gonna reel it. Leave your thought in the comment section, subscribe if you've not done that, and do not forget, we do not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever. We're just here for educational purposes, guys. Alright lovelies, let's get into it.
So now that we've teamed up and worked together to sort of, finally strike down this affirmative action that was keeping our well-performing Asian students out of these Ivy League schools, we're finally gonna see more of us in those schools, right? Right?
Sorry, pal. I think we're actually just gonna sneak in a few more legacies. But it was nice working with you, though.
Oh. Wait, so you just used us?
Used is a little harsh, don't you think?
Oh.
What? No. No, they wouldn't. No, they didn't do... What? No, you're telling me they used you? They used racial tensions to... What? No. No, they wouldn't. Nah. No, who would have thought? Not me.
And they're super upset about it. But Asian Americans are already disproportionately higher in colleges than in the general population. Why? American immigration policy and generational wealth. In 1968, America allowed more Asian Americans in if they had a graduate degree. In order to have a graduate degree in 1968, your family had to have means. So basically, they were preferentially allowing people with generational wealth from other places to come to the United States and then get jobs where they got more wealth. And those people gave their children a number of things. 1, a role model on the kinds of jobs you could have. 2, higher education. They were probably paying for things like Kumon and tutoring. And entry points. They know more people. All of these things come together to make them successful in these higher education required roles. So while they were minorities, they were a privileged minority in higher education. And what did they do with their privilege? They decided to sue to get rid of affirmative action because they felt like they didn't have enough seats in higher education. And they got rid of affirmative action, but it didn't help them. Asian Americans still are 28% less likely to get in than a less qualified white applicant. And so, Asian Americans decided to throw away affirmative action, which helped Black Americans and Latinx Americans. And who instead benefits? As this creator points out, the white legacy students. Because what is basically affirmative action for wealthy white people still remains very much in force in Ivy League schools.
Conservative Asian Americans are extremely tricky because they're trying extremely hard to assimilate to American culture while also maintaining the culture that they came with. I'm going to be talking mostly from the East Asian American experience here, but a lot of traditionalist Confucian values actually align fairly well with conservative Western values. You know, stuff like not challenging your authorities, Because in the Confucian mindset, those above you in the hierarchy are put there for a reason. It kind of sounds like how Americans justify hierarchy, doesn't it? And the tricky part comes to the fact that conservative Asian Americans have done an extremely good job of assimilating. Too much, actually. They've assimilated so well that they've become traditionalists in their own fashion. To the point where instead of trying to understand shared oppression alongside other minorities, they choose to side with the oppressors. It's sickening and detrimental to progress.
Y'all can go watch that last video for context, and then you can come back to this. But I will say this to any non-white and non-black group that's in America right now: this is the result when you bet and you buddy up with white supremacy. They will use you. They will prop you up. They will give you stuff. They will do everything they need to do to achieve their goal and achieve their means. But as soon as they do that, they will once again remind you that you are not white. This is why y'all need to stop trying to shit on us to gain shit. Because what you keep forgetting is that you're not white.
I love that people are talking about affirmative action again, because I can finally info dump about it and why affirmative action is good, actually. California hasn't had affirmative action since 1996 because of something called Prop 209, which ended race-conscious admissions from UCs in state schools. So we haven't had affirmative action in over 30 years almost. So in that time, we've actually collected some pretty good data on why affirmative action is harmful to people of color. From the University of California, this is a study on the impact of Proposition 209, and this is what they found. The end of race-conscious admissions at the University of California led to admission declines for applicants from underrepresented groups, i.e. African Americans, Hispanic, Latinx, American Indian, at every UC campus. Admissions just went down. Enrollment declines went down for underrepresented groups, and enrollment increases went up for white students. A shift in enrollment from students from underrepresented groups from more selective campuses led to less selective campuses. The dude I stitched was specifically talking about Asian conservatives, but this study also has a whole section on Asian and Pacific Islanders. Here's what they say. Point: race-conscious admission policies do not disproportionately harm Asian American students. Subpoint: students from some Asian ethnicities benefit from these race-conscious policies. Another point: affirmative action opponents have strategically used Asian Americans as a wedge group to divide interracial coalitions that support race-conscious policies. Last point: the majority of Asian Americans across different ethnic groups support race-conscious admission policies. Asian people love affirmative action, actually. I hated that I said actually, please ignore that. And like dude pointed out in the video, there wasn't a sharp increase of Asian American students going to schools or Ivy League schools or colleges, whatever. In fact, there was actually a small opposite. There was a small decrease in Asian American applicants being admitted into these schools because of legacy applicants. Well, even after laying all that out, some of you might still be saying, well, affirmative action is still racist because it picks people based off of their race. You obviously don't know a lot about the history of colleges, do you? Colleges historically have been super racist. Yay! There was a question after the Civil War about what to do with the freedmen, the freed slaves. Would they start allowing them to go to public and even private schools, go to college? And the answer was no, because white intellectuals at the time were still super racist. So for people of color, there were only two options of what you could do, and they were perfectly represented by the two best well-known black intellectuals at the time. You could either fight your way into these colleges like what W.E.B. Du Bois did. He fought his way into college at Harvard, tooth and nail, graduated with a doctorate, and faced hate and discrimination the entire way through. Or you could do like Booker T. Washington and create something like the Tuskegee Institute to allow black people to go to school, go to college, and become intellectuals, because they understood white people weren't just going to roll over and start letting black people into schools. Even after the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which states you cannot discriminate against someone based off of their race, sex, or ethnicity, colleges were still only admitting white, mostly male applicants because they found ways around it. They didn't have to just look at someone's race on an application just to discriminate. They discriminated in other ways. That's what led to affirmative action in the 70s, because they found out, hey, having people from diverse backgrounds is actually good and intellectually stimulating. It's better for people to create an advanced society when we have diverse viewpoints. That's what race conscious admissions mean. It means, hey, while a lot of these white applicants look good, let's look at some black applicants that are also just as good, or some Hispanic applicants that are also just as good, or Asian, American Indian, what have you. That's what affirmative action was trying to do. Say, hey, these people are just as good. Why don't we let some of them in as well? If you're still saying, oh, that's racist, one, you're intellectually brain dead. And two, you know what group benefits the most from affirmative action? White women. Because affirmative action also takes in sex into account. So white women are more likely to get into colleges because of affirmative action. So all of you college conservative girlies that are like, oh my God, I got in because I'm so smart. Check your admissions record. Really, check your admissions record, because you might be surprised. Even if you don't agree with colleges, you have to agree with the fucking US military, because they support affirmative action. They want affirmative action because they even realize that it's good to have diverse viewpoints. Oh my God, people, what are we doing? This is all just a long-winded way of saying affirmative action is good because it allows more people of diverse backgrounds, ethnicities, races, genders to get into schools so we can intellectually stimulate ourselves and challenge our ideas, which is for the betterment of society. That's why affirmative action is good. It's not the be-all, end-all. Granted, it's a partial solution. There are better things that we could do. We just need those people to figure out what it is. And you know what would help? A diverse viewpoint, a diverse group of people. Thank you.
Right. Funny thing is, when y'all come over here, us American black folks that's been dealing with these people for hundreds and hundreds of years be trying to tell y'all how they get down. And we be trying to like inform y'all, but y'all be trying to blame us like we in y'all way. And y'all done did all this crying and all this other stuff to try and get what y'all want. They done took that away, and now less of y'all getting in. Who fault is it now? Now they done stop letting y'all in and start bringing more of their people in because they don't legally have to anymore. We told y'all this from the get-go. We told y'all this, and what y'all do? Y'all blamed us. We ain't got shit to do with it. And then y'all wanted us to show up and support y'all when y'all ain't never supported us. That's crazy.
Now imagine the same scenario in that video with gay black folks, and religion. The more you know.
The model minority myth has always been a tool of white supremacy to conquer and divide racial minorities, to pit them against one another so that we fight and end up doing shit like this. Striking down affirmative action, I cannot believe that there were Asian Americans that were against affirmative action. It goes to show you that we obviously still do not have good, proper education on Asian American history, Black history. We know this, but hot damn, I can't believe that there were actually Asian Americans that were trying to vote against this. But this is how it turned out.
you got to understand in the Asian American community why we had this rejection of liberalism. Because ultimately, you're right. Affirmative action is going to be another excuse to let in more white legacies. And it's because of the boba liberals. Boba liberals are like the bane to the Asian American community's existence. All they do is constantly criticize Asian culture. They compare it essentially to Nazi Germany, saying that it's like one of the worst, like one of the most sexist, racist, misogynistic cultures out there, despite the fact that, you know, if you go around Asia, right, as a woman, you are generally going to be safe. But I think if you go to America, there is literally 155% more likely chance that you're going to get raped, assaulted, or generally harassed as a woman on the street, especially if you go to cities like San Francisco. So they make this incorrect comparison saying that, oh, Asian cultures are these awful fucking hegemons, and all Asian men are awful, and all Asian people for the most part are awful. And it was getting to a boiling point where the Asian American community was getting sick of it, which made us easy prey for conservatives. And as much as I hate to say it to the Asian people that think we have options in conservatives, let me make something perfectly honest. They hate us both. Both the Democrats and the Republicans are unified on their hate of Asian Americans. And as a matter of fact, it doesn't really matter what race you are. You know, if you genuinely support a Democratic or Republican administration, whether you're white, black, or Asian, unless you are a billionaire, not even like upper rich, I'm talking about billionaire, almost none of the policies actually support you. Even the poor rich who own like several $1 million, that's almost nothing compared to the tax rate that compared to the taxes that you will have to pay versus someone who's in the billionaire class. So yeah, everyone got fucking played. They basically used the affirmative action case with Asian Americans in order to let in more people from the American aristocracy. Not necessarily white, right? Even though it is disproportionately white, but the American aristocracy. So that doesn't include, so white people in this audience who are thinking, oh, that might include me. No, that doesn't fucking include you, okay? That doesn't fucking include you unless you are in the top 1 of 1%.
This brings to mind the old saying, the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. They really thought that these people, these rich white people, were going to help them. Once they got rid of affirmative action, they thought that was going to somehow get them in. They were wholeheartedly believing that. Meanwhile, shitting all over African Americans and Latinx Americans. Guys, come on. What? That's hilarious to me. But also, I think it's a very good learning tool. This teaches us something. What does it teach us? The master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. If someone who's rich, wealthy, and Republican agrees with what you're trying to do, you might not be doing the right thing. Just double check it, you know?
How can they do this to us? How can they do this to us? We had their back.
What are you talking about? What's happening? What's the issue?
America had our backs. We had their backs. We told them affirmative action had to go because we weren't getting into the schools because of affirmative action.
So, what I told you was going to happen is happening.
How could we possibly know this was going to happen? There's no way we could have known. There was no clues. There's no way we could have known.
Oh no, it's the consequences of your actions.
Like, seriously, lovelies, I can't vividly, remember what's really happened that came about this Asian American stuff and affirmative action, I have my other channel where I posted everything, you need to know about this affirmative action and how it all started. Like, it was just like yesterday. It all started from this young, guy that actually scored a particular amount of, scores that was supposed to get him into all these Ivy schools, but he was actually rejected. So upon rejection, he could not go back home. He could not go back to Asian. He decided that, okay, I am qualified to get into this school. I am not supposed to be rejected. Why am I rejected and other people, especially people of color, is getting into these schools. Then he decided to go around to look for a way that he's gonna write some papers, and he even went ahead to do some kind of test and sue these particular schools. This actually got internet talking. Like, a lot of people were stitching his videos then. Like, this young guy, he was so viral. Like, the video went viral that he actually meant all the requirements to get into the school, but he's not gotten into school. And because of this, a lot of people were like, okay, a lot of the Asian community as well started coming up that, okay, they should strike down affirmative action because it's actually making a lot of their students not to get into this Ivy schools, into this schools. Like, this was something that took internet like a whole months to deliberate if they're gonna remove affirmative action or not. But the Asian people keep on pushing it, like they need to remove this because they were thinking that it was actually benefiting the black people more, or because they felt that maybe black people are less intelligent, like black communities or black students are less intelligent. So because of the affirmative action, they were actually taking the slots that was meant to be for the intelligent Asian community to give it to these black people, all because of affirmative action, without them knowing that this affirmative action is actually benefiting white women. So one thing led to the other, the pushing and all of that. They struck down affirmative action, and everybody was like, okay, because even before then, black people was like, are you sure you should struck down this affirmative action? Are you sure you are okay with it and all of that? They were like, oh, we need to struck it down. It went from months to weeks and all of that, and after which affirmative action was removed. Then after 1 year, this resurfaces. Some Asian communities decided to come out again and start, oh my goodness, affirmative action is not helping matters. Our students are not even getting admission. Like, they decided, like, the way at which, the rate at which they even got admitted when affirmative action was there was even better off compared to when they are now getting admission now. Like, the percentage has drastically reduced, and this got internet like, oh my goodness, that people told you guys are thinking that we are the problem without knowing the real problem. Like, there's a video that surfaced that I even posted, like, when the Asian Americans were reacting to this, black people were reacting to, like, they were like, our students are no more getting admitted into the schools, that the level at which they get admitted has really reduced. These people don't know that affirmative action was even giving privilege to people like minority people to even get into the school, including them. Some of these Asian conservative Asian Americans feel that they are actually white. They don't see themselves like they are minorities as well. They see themselves, they want to like team up. The way I have to team up with the white people to try to like put down the people of color down. Let me just use it as clear people, black people, to put them down. But they don't know that these people is actually using them down. Like, the time, like, when they are done using them, that is when they're just gonna they never knew that when they are done using them, they are gonna discard them. Like, they're gonna leave them. They often think that, okay, we are white as well, so they're like teaming up with this kind of people, like, to go against people. But they don't know that you are still a minority. A minority will ever be a minority. If you're not white, you'll never be white. If you're not Caucasian, you will never be, no matter who you want to team up with. So it's better for you to just stay in your lane, everybody stay in their lane, and enjoy the minority ship that we find ourselves into, than for you to just come up there trying to team up with someone that that to still discard you when they're done using you. Like, this got internet talking. A lot of people stage this video, especially this guy, about this capacity Asian Americans. When I saw the video, I was like, oh my goodness, this guy is actually telling the truth. And the stitches, oh my god, I was so impressed that a lot of these Asian people are now coming out. You know what, they are coming out right now to actually agree with black people on what they say, and because they see that this is actually not favoring them. Let's assume that this affirmative action actually favored them most and don't really favor black people. What do you think would have happened? Do you think this will go around internet and a lot of people will start stitching it? Nobody will give it, nobody would even mind about what's But since it's not favoring them just the way they felt it was gonna favor them, it was gonna make their kids go into these Ivy schools, gonna make their kids get the admission, since they felt that their kids are more intelligent or whatever, then everybody's now crying online. A lot of people is now crying, stitching the videos online and all of that, even mimicking and memes and all of this. Like the better everyone, like people of color decide, like, okay, we are actually among the minority, the best for everyone. There is no, you are feeling that you are just on top of the world, or you are better than some, or whatsoever. You are just deceiving yourself, because when these people finish you, or maybe finish using you, oh my god, the way they will discard you like that piece of trash, oh my goodness, that is when you will just come back to your senses and you will realize that you are actually a minority. You're not superior. So with them feeling all this, I hope this is just a lesson to them. I hope this sounds as a lesson. I don't know what is going to happen right now. I don't know if they're going to be suing them for putting back affirmative action, or affirmative action is going to remain removed, and they're just going to work their way on how to get admitted into these Ivy schools. Guys, why not just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. Do not forget that this channel page does not support any form of harassment, bullying, or whatsoever. We are just here for information and educate purposes, guys. We're just here to learn. So if you're coming from Belinda's Trana, thank you so much. And if you've not subscribed up to this extent, oh my goodness, what are you still waiting for? Please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications, so that anytime I upload videos, you'll be the first person to be notified. And I will see you lovelies when I upload my next video.